We get a lot of comments from people when we do videos like this that we're negative, that we're doom and gloom, but unfortunately, two beautiful women are dead right now that if they had seen one of our videos in the past, they may still be alive.
So this is coming, it's actually all over the news, but we're going to use specifically RV travel. The title of the video is Burning Candle Sparks Fatal Propane Explosion at Campground. And like MJ said, we've done several videos on RV fires, RV explosions. A lot of times these are caused by propane. Now, propane is safe to use if it is used appropriately. If not, it is very dangerous. We don't have a propane fired coach anymore. We're all electric. However, you're still, even if you have electric coach, you're still around people that may have propane. I know we're at a Harvest Host right now, right across from us, that coach definitely has propane. So although it may not affect us directly, at some point it may affect us directly. It may affect you if you have a propane and you're next to somebody. So we're going to get into the story. It is sad because it was 100% preventable, and we're going to talk about that.
This occurred on Saturday, July 26th, so just a very short time ago. There were two women that were camping together, celebrating one of the women's birthdays, and they were at a campground in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. It was the Powderhorn Campground. It's a very popular seasonal RV park up there in Maine. And unfortunately, what happened, as Izzy said, was very preventable. The victims were Alicia Ventura Large, who was 58 years old, of Marlborough, and Nancy Pilch, 57, of Leominster, I think you say it. And they were staying at the campground. As I said, they were celebrating Nancy's upcoming birthday, and it happened around 12:30 p.m. on the 26th, where the explosion occurred.
So after the incident, fire investigators believe propane gas had been leaking into and underneath the camper. When the explosion happened, initially the women, they didn't die instantly, they died later on, but they told first responders they smelled like garlic inside the unit, something that smelled like garlic. Thinking it might help, they opened windows and lit candles to mask the odor. As a result, the candles ignited a gas explosion from the propane.
Now, propane is meant to smell like propane. Propane doesn't have a scent, but ethyl mercaptan is the scent that you smell that smells like garlic or skunk or whatever.
It gets your attention.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the point of it.
That is something every RVer needs to know. When you smell that, you don't want to try to mask it. It's letting you know there's an issue.
So here's a quote from a neighbor that was at the campground. It's surreal. It's an absolute freak accident. There was no way for them to know anything was wrong until the candle was lit. Well, we're going to disagree with this a little bit, because according to the victims, they did smell something. So they did know, they just didn't know what it was.
So this was a destination RV. It was approximately 12 to 14 years old. It belonged to a member of one of the women's families. Investigators said it was unclear whether the gas leak came from a damaged line, an appliance, or a stove knob, which they said was found in the on position.
A little bit of conflicting stories, because investigators said the trailer did not appear to have a propane leak detector. That's a big issue. Although the smoke alarm was found inside, that's not going to pick up propane gas. The fire marshal also noted there was no issues with the rig's external gas tank setup. Now, not clear. At first they said they don't know if it was leaking lines. Here they say there was no issue with the tank setup, so that's a little bit conflicting. I'm not quite sure what went on there.
The fire crews were able to contain this to a single RV, so it did not affect anybody else at the campground. Very sad. It's just a horrible, horrible situation. Friends and neighbors did describe the two women as kind, thoughtful people who love to travel and enjoy the outdoors. Quote, "These people were wonderful human beings from all accounts that we've learned about," said Maine State Fire Marshal Sean Essler. The two women, as we mentioned before, were able to speak to first responders. They were taken to the hospital, but unfortunately, one passed Saturday night and the other passed the next morning.
So what can we learn from this? Again, we've done these videos. We've received comments of people that they learned something.
And a lot of YouTubers do videos
Yes.
like this. We're not the only ones. There's a lot of information.
So we hope that these videos flood social media, so when somebody gets an RV, they come across, it doesn't have to be our video, just anybody's video. And I would imagine if these two women had seen somebody's video talking about this, they would have known right away, and this wouldn't have happened. But let's talk about some other things that could have absolutely prevented this. 14 to 15-year-old motorhome, maybe a good idea to have that thing looked at, inspected. It wasn't a motorhome, it was a destination trailer, but whether it's an RV, fifth wheel, a motorhome, especially if you have propane, you should really have these things looked at. I know when we had Nellie, we had propane pressure checks done at Newmar. Double check everything. It probably would have prevented this, unless it was that stove being on, but we're going to talk about some other stuff.
Another really important thing that this RV missed was it did not have a working propane detector. That immediately would have let them know, it would have been beeping that there was a problem.
If you do have a propane detector and it's in your RV, make sure it works. There's a test function on there. There should be changed out about every 5 years. If you hear it beep, it's for a reason. Don't pull the wire out. You have to verify is there something wrong with it? Is detecting a leak? You're more than likely going to smell something, which moves on to the next one. Natural gas and propane, they're both odorless by nature. There is scent added to it so you can smell it. And it's an annoying scent, like it's going to get your attention. That's done for a reason. So if you smell that very distinct scent, you have to ventilate and leave the area.
Another very important thing is avoid open flames when a gas leak is suspected. So these women did smell that and they did ventilate, but unfortunately the lighting of the candle was most likely the reason for the explosion.
Yeah, we've done other videos. I believe it was a woman that lit her cigarette and everything exploded. This is a tool that we still have it on here because it detects other things, but we did have this on Nellie. It's a gas detector and it detects combustible gas. This one specifically methane, natural gas, propane, liquefied petroleum gas, sewer gas, gasoline, anything that, not anything, but a lot of common gases that could explode. You just turn it on and there's a little sensor here. It's good to find gas leaks. You just put it and it'll tell you where the leak is coming from. One more thing, we have to say it. If you have an RV, you have to kind of know some basics about it because these are complicated machines. Even travel trailers, there's a lot going on. There's some basics that you should know because things can become dangerous and it happens over and over and over again. And unfortunately, these two women lost their lives. Celebrating their lives, they lost their lives.
And we want to, as always, we want to send out our prayers and thoughts to the families of these women. It's really heartbreaking because it was preventable.
So if you see this video, please share it. Please. Not for us to get views, so somebody else can see it. Because unfortunately, this is not going to be the last time this happens. We would hope and wish that it never happens again, but it's not. And we're going to be doing a story like this again at some point, unfortunately. In the comments below, let us know, have you heard of this story? Have you had experience with a propane leak? We had one when we first had Nellie. We had a regulator that was leaking. I went outside, I smelled it. I'm like, something smells weird. Very distinct. Shut the propane off. It wound up being the regulator. We had to change it out. If you like videos like this to the left of us, we're going to put our RV news playlist. We're also going to put our RV upgrades playlist. And for myself and MJ, it's a journey of a lifetime. Please be safe, and we'll see you on the road.